Now from Redstone, a KPRC Local 2 sports special, Show and Tell, the Shell Houston Open 2010.
Last April, a world-class field teed off in Redstone for the Shell Houston Open, and it proved to be the coming-out party for Englishman Paul Casey.
It was emotional. It was a release. It was a little bit of the monkey off the back.
Tonight, the defending champ reflects back on his first PGA Tour win. We'll catch up with the PGA stars to find out what exactly is in their bag. Plus, the pros and one of rock's greatest legends give us tips for playing in the Pro-Am.
Try to pick up on their rhythm. That's really the best thing about it.
Off the course, find out which charities are benefiting from the Shell Houston Open success, and from the volunteers to the players themselves, HGA President and CEO Steve Timms on what all goes into hosting a tour stop. And you think the PGA Tour is good now? Tonight, you'll see why the future looks even brighter. It's all right now as we get you ready for the Shell Houston Open 2010. Hello and welcome to Local 2's Shell Houston Open Preview Special. I'm Randy McElvoy coming to you from just off the 18th green here at Redstone Golf Club in Humble, where in just a couple of days, the best players in the world will tee it up for the $5.8 million purse. Traditionally, this is a star-studded field here, one of the best you'll ever see on the PGA Tour, and for very good reason. Ever since the Shell moved to just the week before the Masters, Tour players like to use it as a tune-up for Augusta National. In turn, the Houston Golf Association obliged by setting up Redstone in an attempt to replicate, or at least close to, Augusta's conditions. This year, they've added a few more tweaks. A review found that some of the shots around the green on the tournament course were from the rough. So this year, all short game shots will be from fairway cut or bunkers, similar to Augusta. The ultimate goal is to give players some of the same looks and shots that they will see the following week. It should add a level of difficulty and additional strategy before each shot, which the players love.
The course is always in green condition. If we can keep a bit of the rain away, it plays awesome when it's firm. So really good condition. The weather's starting to warm up. Things are starting to grow. Still can occasionally get a bit of a cool weather. But just great condition golf course. Good test of golf.
Obviously they're preparing it for the Masters the next week. They want the guys to feel like they can play a course that's similar, and they hit it right on the head. The greens were, well, I can remember the first round got suspended a little bit because they were too quick. So it's a good problem to have if your greens are running too slick and fast. So probably one of the best condition courses that we play out here this year.
Paul Casey made his Shell Houston Open debut last year, and it was a doozy. He collected his first PGA Tour win, becoming the first ever European champion at Houston's PGA Tour event. Paul Alexander Casey, born and raised in England, it's where he honed his golf skills at a very young age. Then came the call from Arizona State, and ever since then, Paul Casey has been on the fast track. And now in his 6th year on the PGA Tour, Casey is among the world's best players. It's hard to believe a year has already passed since Paul Casey tamed the tournament course at Redstone. A brief return to Humble last month produced a feel-good moment for the young Englishman.
It's going to be fun. It's nice to see nice memorabilia around here. A picture or two of myself holding the trophy from last year.
Last year's magic, however, nearly didn't happen. Casey, who normally takes off the week before a major, decided a month out that he would commit, because word had spread tour-wide that Redstone was the ultimate tune-up for Augusta National.
So many guys had spoken very highly of this event, and the big thing is the course setup. You know, this doesn't look like Augusta National, and it never will, but the short grass, the way the sort of mowing heights, the way the fairways are mowed, the way the green surrounds are mowed, and then the green speeds are very, very similar to those that we play at Augusta National. And guys love that. They think it's great preparation to start hitting the shots that they need for the following week. And that's why you're getting so many great players turning up.
And that's exactly what happened. 8 of the top 10 and 15 of the top 20 all converged on Redstone. A world-class field was in place.
It's tough. There's only so much guys like Steve Timms and his crew can do, but if you get a good feeling into the players, then and that message gets carried, I mean, all over the world. You'll get guys, even the international guys, who are getting ready for the Masters the following week will want to come here and will, you know, probably find their managers start calling Steve and, you know, vying for a little invite if they can.
Casey's big week included rounds of 66, 70, 69, and 72. Then he took out J.B. Holmes on the first hole of sudden death. The wait was over. A proven champion across the pond, Casey could now call himself a PGA Tour winner.
Was it emotional? I mean, walk me through once it was completed and you're holding that trophy.
It was emotional for me. You know, it's something I'd wanted for a very long time, but you just don't know if it's going to happen. The PGA Tour is the best tour in the world, and when you're playing against, you know, the world's best players week in, week out, it's an achievement to win on this tour. It was emotional. It was a release. It was a little bit of the monkey off the back, and just a stepping stone, because I want to win majors, but you know, you got to start winning regular events if you want to sort of get to majors. You don't want to you can't just roll in there and win a green jacket.
After the win at Redstone and in Europe, Casey's world ranking climbed all the way to number 3.
It's slightly strange to think that, you know, at the time, you know, Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods are the only 2 guys ahead of me in the world rankings, and there's a lot of people playing golf. You know, that was a strange one.
A rib injury slowed Casey at the end of last season, but he's back now, still in the top 10, loving golf and giving back to the game that has been so good to him. First step, a $100,000 donation to SHO Houston Open Charities in February.
I'm sitting here because of opportunities I had as a kid, and people who were very generous and charitable, and gave me opportunities and gave me the sort of hope as a kid, and we'd like to do the same and touch a few people by this.
Well, the SHO Houston Open is much more than just a golf tournament, but what you may not know is the tournament, along with the Houston Golf Association, have generated more than $48 million for youth charities right here in our area.
It's typically never easy being the first of anything, but for Boys and Girls Harbor Incorporated, it's a distinction the organization wears with pride.
We're proud to be the first core charity, and we're proud of our relationship with HGA and SHO.
A core charity of the Houston Golf Association for the last 36 years, Boys and Girls Harbor Incorporated cares for children who have been abused, abandoned, or neglected. The HGA has been an integral part of that mission through its generous donations, which have been used to improve the Boys and Girls Harbor campus, ultimately touching hundreds of young lives.
An invested dollar, an invested donor dollar in our kids pays off dividends in the future. It'll make a difference in kids' lives. It'll make a difference between what path a child chooses.
Boys and Girls Harbor Incorporated is one of 6 core charities that benefit from the SHO Houston Open. Now, an interesting fact about this great organization, it began in 1947 at Morgan's Point. That's located near LaPorte, primarily providing vocational training for boys, but began accepting girls back in the 1980s. All right, we're just getting started on our SHO Houston Open special right here on Local 2. Of course, the weather is a huge part of any PGA tournament, but sometimes Mother Nature gets in the way. Coming up, we'll talk about what the pros do during a weather delay. Plus, we'll take a look at the do's and don'ts of playing in a Pro-Am, and we'll have a sneak peek at some future PGA Tour stars. That's next when the SHO Houston Open special returns.